I should be back at the 100 Club, making up for lost time. But what a venue! Everybody who's anyone has performed there, from Amy Winehouse to Paul McCartney, the Rolling Stones, the Sex Pistols, everybody, the Who, they've all performed there.
Mm. I mean,
and now Sal.
Yes, of course. I mean, how do you feel about performing at these sort of, prestigious venues? I mean, you must get used to it by now. But do you have that sort of the butterflies in the stomach, or is it? We probably got used to it by now. Probably.
I could get butterflies doing a show in front of 5 people.
Mm.
Very nerve-wracking performing full stop. But if you're singing into a camera for television, millions of people are watching you.
Mm.
And that's very nerve-wracking. You could be doing a show in front of 50,000 people for some sort of festival. I've done a few Mellors in my time, and also a few town shows as well. That's nerve-wracking because your voice does dry up. You do get the butterflies. If you don't get the butterflies before you go on stage, you are complacent. You're too overconfident, and that is when you make mistakes.
I see. I thought it was the other way around, but you're a performer who can obviously been through it many times and
shaking all over.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, I'm sure you're a seasoned performer, and you know how to go about these things, and just looking forward, hopefully, to your next live performance. And so you do particular sets. You may do a particular, like an Elvis set where you advertise this for Elvis only, or you may do your rock sound where you have a variety of singers that you in fact perform. Have you noticed any sort of difference in the audience in these two type of shows? I mean, or are they equally happy about either of them, or is there like a difference in the audience that you get to these shows, or not really?
Well, it's a very good question, and I can't be bothered to answer it. No, I'm only joking. It's a very good question. There are there's quite a few. Embarrassed myself, haven't I? There's quite a few people who regularly come to my shows, and I do thank them because they really do mean the world to me. And then I make new fans. There's a huge age range. There could be like from teenagers all the way up to my number one fan, which is I call her Lady Eileen. She's 94 years of age next month. So happy birthday, Eileen. I've got to mention that. So she absolutely adores my shows because there is such variety in them. I'll advertise the Elvis shows as Elvis shows because there are specific suits that I will wear, like the black leather suit and flowery shirts and gold lame jacket. But if it's the Rock Sal show, then I dress up incredibly stupid most of the time with all sorts of gold shirts and glittery jackets. More accustomed to being probably a game show host than anything else. But I get up there with the Rock Sal show and I read the audience. If I see that there's too many ballads, then I would change it to a rock and roll song to get them going. And if they're on the dance floor, I then read the audience saying, look, let them dance, keep doing some rock and roll stuff, and then bring it down bit by bit by bit. So they eventually do sit down because I'm now ready to do some ballads. So it's important to not be self-indulgent and just do things that you like, that you listen to in the car, or you listen to in the studio, or you listen to at the home. You read the audience very well and you perform to them. They've come to listen to the hits. They've come to listen to all the famous songs. They're not there to be bored. They're there to be entertained. Somebody has paid you good money to go there and entertain these people on a cold February night. They've trekked through the snow. They've driven hundreds of miles to come and see you. You've got to give them a show. It's their money. And they're paying you for it, so it's important to read the audience.
Yes, that's very, very, very informative. And of course, you've done shows where you've been, say, invited, to perform in front of, it could be, city types, or it could be, a different sort of professional association or something. And do you find yourself sometimes having to, as you just mentioned now, that if you look at the audience and sort of gauge, what song can I make all these people sort of get involved and start enjoying the program. Do you have that sort of situation where you sort of think in your mind, although you may have had a select set performance, but you think perhaps this sort of audience may prefer a certain song to get them going, so to speak?
Yes, there's yes, quite correct, Mahtab. I mean, there is a if you have a very young audience, then you stick to the big hits like "Suspicious Minds," "The Wonder of You," "Hound Dog," and songs that "She Loves You" and the Beatles' "Twist and Shout," songs that they are familiar with. They would be familiar with. I know it sounds strange, but the younger audience will hear those songs because they're still played on the radio.
Yes.
So you can't lose them with too many rare songs. But if you've got an older audience, like I do quite a few old people's homes, they would, if they're in their 80s, they're roughly the same age as what Elvis would have been anyway. So I can get away with songs by Bobby V and Bobby Darin and the odd rare Dean Martin song, and stick in something that's not well known by Elvis or Roy Orbison and Eddie Cochran, and they will know them, they will remember them. And each one of those audiences will have a specific memory attached to a song. So if it's a young audience, I try and stick to the very big hits. Otherwise, you could lose them. So you have to read the audience. Yeah. Excuse me.
And I'm sure a song like "Viva Las Vegas" can get anyone going. It doesn't matter what age they are.
Spiceland. Yes. There's a huge place up in Peterborough called Spiceland, and one of the songs that they really enjoy is the one you just mentioned, which is "Viva Las Vegas." So there's hundreds of people waving around the napkin while I'm singing "Viva Las Vegas." But any age group of any type will, unless they've been living in a cave, will know, "Viva Las Vegas."
Yes, yes. And I have to admit, you perform it really well, I have to say.
Thank you.
And I mean, well, actually, we're up to our next break, Sal. I mean, the time just whizzed by, and we're up to our next break again. So please do hang on.
Will do.
And I'm going to make a little request for you after this break, and I hope you can. I hope you can sort of take it up.